So, warmly welcome you all for this innovation session. This is about another hurdle which the QA team came across, and the demonstration which runs throughout this session describes how we what challenges we faced and what steps we took to overcome, and what approaches we took. So I invite Nuwangi to start with the demonstration.
Thanks, Devendra. Hi guys. Today we are going to present about the behavioral-driven API testing. This is the one of technique that we use to overcome our challenge. So about the API testing. You all know, I think you are familiar with the GUI testing. When we come to GUI, the user and are always focusing about how user feel and how user interact with the GUI. But when it comes to API, we are mainly focusing on the business layer. How the API functions, procedures, and those things are working. So our API testing is mainly focused on the API. We are mainly focused on the service layer, which all the business logics are embedded. I like to say that the GUI API testing is the heart of the GUI. That means the API testing. Let's see what are the approaches and challenges of the API testing. When we talk about the process approach, first we have to understand what we are going to test in an API program. We have to understand clearly what are the functionalities. What are the functionalities in API that we are going to test, and we have to clearly define the scope of the program. Then we can apply the normal testing techniques such as equivalent classes, boundary value analysis, that kind of things, and we can design our test cases as normally we do. Then we have to correctly identify and define the input parameters that we are needed to input the API test plan. Then, as normally we do, we are executing test cases and we get the output and we compare those outputs with the expected result and find the bugs and reports. That's the how the challenges. There are three main challenges in API testing. Those are the parameter combination, parameter selection, and call sequence. When you are designing the API testing, you should mainly focus on those three things, and you have to correctly design your testing. Then the second one is the GUI problem. Because in API testing, we are not using any GUI. The ordinary tester who is familiar with the GUI may be a bit challenged to adopt that API context, since it doesn't have that kind of interface to interact. The third one is validation and verification in output different system. In GUI, it's the user can directly input and get the output, and it's quite visible and it's readable and it's really easy to understand. But when you go for API testing, it's kind of bit difficult. You have to have a knowledge about what are the API calls and what are the response received. That kind of understanding you should have. So if you are an ordinary GUI tester, it may be quite bit challenge to when you are moving to API test in this way. And the parameter selection, categorization, and exception handling function also few challenges, and also the coding knowledge for the tester is kind of challenge if you are an ordinary manual tester. Details. Fails, handle error condition gracefully, and non-use flags, missing duplicates functionality, reliable issues, security issues, multi-threading issues, performance issues, those kind of issues we can identify, especially when you are focusing on high secure applications such as gateway kind of thing. You will find the security issues mostly, and you can easily identify test tool that's used in industry. Rest assured with Cucumber, Scope, Postman with Jetpack, these kind of things. And here we are using Rest assured with Cucumber, and we embedded those things with the BDT. So I invite Hasita to explain how we are using BDT to.
In these slides, I would like to give some brief introduction about the behavior-driven testing which we are using right now. In this diagram, mainly we are focusing on the main characteristics of the behavior-driven testing towards the big picture. Actually, it contains main three factors. First, if you consider about the first factor, it contains initially we need to identify the main function list of the system. In our project, we are mainly analyze the requirements and identify the main characteristics of the requirement, and we include test scenarios for that. We include those scenarios into our test strategy. If we consider the second factor, is the thinking process. And in thinking process, we mainly consider about the practical scenarios, end-to-end scenarios in real user environment. In that case, we develop complex test scenarios to cover those business scenarios in our test plan. If we consider about the core business values in our payment gateway test plan, we mainly consider about the performance, accuracy, reliability, and the maintainability as a main core business factors. Other than that, we use acceptance criteria to identify the business scenarios in practical situations. If we consider about the second characteristic, it's a behavior-driven testing. It's an extension of the test-driven development. Actually, if we consider about the behavior-driven testing, it's a business readable language and domain-specific language. It's a main advantage of the behavior-driven testing. If we consider about the third characteristics of the behavior-driven testing, describe the test as an expected behavior. In that case, we are mainly focusing on the validation part of each and every scenario. Normally we create scenarios using GWT format. In each and every scenario, we use validation part validation part as a essential component. If we consider about fourth, fifth, and sixth factors, normally we are using collaboration between stakeholders and behaviors, user stories as a normal about why we are using behavior-driven testing for API. Actually, as I mentioned earlier, it's basically we can everyone get a good understanding why what kind of approaches we are using, the acceptance criteria. Normal users also can understand what kind of strategies we are using in our testing approach. That is the main advantages, but that is the one main advantage we are used as a behavior-driven testing as our testing approach. And common components also we use to maintain the automation framework which we are using the payment gateway. And other last one is incremental changes in our payment gateway. We can easily handle if there are any requirement changes, that sort of different changes. If we go from client, we can easily adjust into that changes with minimum resources and effort. these are the main three advantages of the behavior driven. I will ask moderator to continue this one.
Prior to do the testing, we need to identify or aware of main endpoints of the API. So I'm going to explain some of the main endpoints here. So first thing is the authentication. So what this is the merchant username and password, and send a request to the payment gateway, and from the payment gateway it will give a token as a response for the valid request. So if the credentials are wrong, it will not generate the token. Again, this token is valid for 24 hours time. So throughout the transaction flow, we need to pass this token with the requester. So that's the initial thing, authentication. So then the authorization. What really happens is when we swipe the credit card at the bank side, the amount is verified first. Then the actual that amount will be blocked of the merchant's of the customer card. If there is no sufficient amount in the card, the request is declined. Then the voiding and authorization. So here we talk about the pre-capture authorization and also all the full refunds, pre-capture full refunds goes through this voiding and authorization endpoint. Then the adjusting and authorization endpoint, all the pre-capture partial refunds goes to this endpoint. So then very critical endpoint is capturing an authorization. What really happens is from the customer's credit card, the actual amount will be debited to the merchant account here. So it is a very critical endpoint. So then we have two final set of endpoints, full refund and partial refund endpoint. So initially I talked about the pre-capture refunds. So here this full refund and partial refund endpoint relevant to the post-capture refunds. All the full refunds, post-capture full refunds goes to this full refund endpoint, and all the partial refunds, post-capture refunds goes to this partial refund endpoint. So those are some of the main endpoints we have to aware of when we do the testing on the API, payment API. So next, we want to give you an overview of the structure of our framework, test framework.
Thanks, Manu. So before I go into detail about this structure, I would like to take you through the background requirements or the behind the scene, actually why we use such an architecture. Because our target is to test the LeapSeq payment gateway endpoints, API endpoints using BDT, which means that we have to deal with the feature files. So feature file stays at the top level, and at the far end we have the LeapSeq payment gateway. So it just generating requests and getting responses from one end to the other. So our challenge was to fill the communication gap between these two ends. So that's what we did using this architecture. So starting from the top level, which is the feature files. So we all know the feature file is a combination of test scenarios and test steps. So it describes the entire picture of API testing using behavior-driven manner. So the steps are in English-like syntax. So next challenge is to convert this, define the behavior of these steps. For that, we use the step definition layer. Actually, what step definition layer does is it describes or defines the behavior of each and every step which is available in the feature file. And not only that, the step definition layer plays a major role here, and it generates the input to the request. So we need to generate a request, and what step definition layer does is it generates the input which is required to generate the request. what it does is it extract data from the helper classes, generate a hash map, which is a combination of key value pairs that we use to generate the JSON object, which is the request. So the third one in the row, which is the request model, we use that to generate the request, API request. What request model does is when step definition layer hand over the hash map to request model, it extracts the required value from the hash map and generate a request header and the request body. The request header contains the token, and the request body contains the other set of data which is required to process the API request. So now we have the request in place, but we haven't met the target yet, which means that we have to reach the far end, which is the LeapSet payment gateway. To overcome that, we use the REST assured, which plays as a communicator in this context. It goes and grabs the request that we generate at the request modules and hand it over to the LeapSet payment gateway. It takes the request and gives to the LeapSet payment gateway. So when the gateway receives the request, what happens is it starts processing. So it first extracts the token, checks whether this is authenticated or not. If it's authenticated, what happens is it starts processing the data available in the request body. And then afterwards, it generates a response. So the REST assured again comes and takes the response and gives it to the request model. So then request model push it up to the step definition layer. So now we gave a request, we got the response, and what else is required? Just to verify the content of the actual response. So we need to verify the actual content of the actual response with the expected response. To that, we use a response utility for that purpose. What it does is compares the actual response with the expected response that we define in the test case, and gives out the status whether it's passed or not. And that status is again given back to step definition layer, and that pushes up to the feature file level, which means that ultimately we have the status of the test case as passed or failed, which means that at this point we wrote the test case in behavior driven manner and we executed and we got the results as passed and failed. So that's the brief description of the architecture that we use, and I invite Yusuf to do some practical approaches using this architecture.
These are the three scenarios I use for the practical approach. First is do 3 process transactions, then adjust first transaction. After that, capture all 3 transactions, then refund the first transaction and verify first transaction details, refund amount, those kind of things. I'm going to execute first scenario. This is the first scenario. You can see here, first step is logging to the LeapSet payment gateway. We have several user types. I use admin user. Then it will, when I pass admin user, it goes to the step definition layer. Then it communicate with the user helper class. Then get the credential of admin user. Then it will create the request body and send it to the LPG. Then get the response with the token. That token is in the memory. Then that token is for all subsequent requests. Why I use this is, actually we use, initially we use this step. We hard coded card number and all, everything. Then we got some issues. Sometimes this card is not rejected by WorldPay. Then there are a lot of, here just 3 test cases, but we have around 200 test cases in the LPG rejection flow. Then we need to replace all the cards one by one. So we use this kind of approach, just pass the visa, then it will take the valid credential of that card type. And it will create the request and send it to the send the invalid card number, we can use this one. There are tests, we need to send the invalid card number, then we need to verify the response. Again, we can use for the invalid CVV type, expire, anything. All, and it will create the request body and send it to the LPG. Just first authorization using this amount. Amount is 33 cents and tip amount is 11 cents. Then do a sync capture for all 3 transactions. Get details of that particular transaction and verify just amount and tip amount. You can verify any number of fields. There are around 100 and do first authorization. Now it's going to do a second authorization. It did second authorization. Now it's going to do a third. Now capture is happening. We have some sleep time for capture because in the LPG there's a sync capture. Just validate on the payment gateway side and run success. When we are sending the refund, sometimes that capture is happening. So we have some post time for that. It's like a credential. Like a username or password, we have to use this token. After login is success, we are going to release the authorization. Just pass the Visa card. Here we pass this Visa, so card. And third is credit card for the refund. Now take that card number and that here. I should get answer. Is there any question on that? 2 transactions, then wait second one and do a capture code and verify capture is failed or not. Here I use MasterCard. You can see MasterCard. For the second transaction, unfortunately MasterCard is not valid by WP. Here. First Visa card, and second one is MasterCard with default card value. Then after that, capture should be failed. Here capture is failed. We are verifying that error text and all. Everything you can verify. Anything you can verify. Third one is do a 3 transaction, capture all 3 transactions and do a partial refund. We can verify whether this is a present or not. You can't verify a dynamic thing exactly. Just verify whether that tag is there. And just show let's say this type should not there. Change that tag. I would say this tag is not there. Provide a status message. Okay, I just put a K and that tag is not in the response. Integrate this with the CI. Every release scientists running on CI and Katrika published the result to the team members. Regression also there are typical that runner class. We can dynamically use any tag. Just you need to pass the tag name on this. We don't need to hardcode the tag name in the runner. We use that. So we don't need to run do input. We don't need to have a runner class. That also came about because sometimes MasterCard is not working. So we need to run only Visa card. Then we put a tag. Anyone can pass that tag in the CI server as a parameter. Then it will run only that tag-related scenarios.
Yeah. So that's what our approach for API testing using behavior-driven manner. That's how we did it. And thanks a lot for being with us, and I highly appreciate your presence in this session.